Hey there, it's Mara, 6'8", resident, makeup obsessed, crazy, extra person. Today I'm going to show you how I created this green 6'8" themed eyeshadow look, and it's over the top and extra just like me, and I hope you like it. And before we even get started, before we get any of those comments, yes I do wear a lot of makeup. Thank you for noticing. Very observational. For me, makeup is just fun, and it doesn't have to be to please anybody else, and I love wearing makeup, and yeah, this look is kind of a lot. So if you love wearing or doing something or expressing yourself in some way, whether it be makeup or fashion or hair color or anything, then you do it, and I'm proud of you. You do you, and if you want to see how I got this look, then just keep watching. Okay, so I've already applied my foundation, concealer, and set it all with powder and filled in my brows off of camera. So now we're gonna get started on the eye look. So first I'm gonna prime my eyes using the MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. I find that this stuff like makes your shadow stay on like crazy, like it's great. Now I'm going to set that eyeshadow primer down with an eyeshadow that's close to my skin tone. I'm going to be taking the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm going to be using the shade Tempera to just set the primer down. Sorry, by the way, if the lighting keeps changing throughout this video. I'm just using natural light to film, so if it keeps changing, that's why. So now that I've set down my eyeshadow primer, I'm going to go into the same palette and take this shade called Raw Sienna as a transition shade on this fluffy brush, just to buff it into my crease to make sure everything blends together really nicely later. So first I'm going to be taking this eyeshadow palette from the brand Smashbox, and it's called the Cover Shop Bold Eye Palette, and it is crazy colorful. I mean, like, that looks like the Crayola 64 pack right there. And they're super pigmented, so like you gotta really be careful with these. But I'm gonna take this green shade right here on this like smaller but still fluffy brush, and just kind of put that in the crease still, but a little bit more focused on the outer corner and like a little bit closer down than we put the last shade. So at this point you're probably thinking, Mara, you look crazy, and yeah, you're correct. But let's be honest, that was true before I even put makeup on. But anyways, as you can see, I took that bright green shade all the way from like the outer corner towards like the inner portion of my eye, but most of it's focused out here. And so next I'm gonna take a darker green shade. This one is from H&M Beauty. Yeah, H&M has a beauty line, and some of it's actually pretty good. This is the single eyeshadow in the color Stay in Olive. I just got that. I have had this eyeshadow for months, and I just got the pun. Stay in Olive, stay in Olive, ah, ah, ah. Okay, I'll stop. But anyway, so I'm gonna take that same brush that we used for the brighter green, and I'm gonna dip it into, you can see this one's darker and a little bit more olivey, I guess the name is true. And I'm gonna focus this one more on just the outer V area, and leave the brighter green just towards the inside. I know it looks crazy for now, but trust me, it's going somewhere, I promise. But now we're actually gonna blend it out so it kind of like goes together a little bit more. So I'm gonna take that same like fluffy crease brush that we used before for the transition shade, and I'm gonna go back into that same transition shade and just start just lightly buffing out the edges. I don't wanna go all over it because then we'll lose some of the impact of the color, and I want it to be as green as possible. So we're gonna take this same Raw Sienna shade from the Anastasia palette and just start buffing out the edges so it looks a little bit more blended and seamless. Also, I wanted to point out, like, I'm gonna be using a lot of different products today, but you don't have to use what I'm using. I'm just using what I have. You can use whatever you have or whatever works for you. I think that I want a little bit more like depth in this outer corner area. So I'm gonna take just the tiniest bit of black eyeshadow. This one's from the Smashbox Double Exposure palette. Just use whatever black you have on hand. But I'm gonna go very, very light-handed because black shadow can go from like 0 to 100 like real quick. Like you can be like looking like a glamazon 1 second and like a raccoon like 2 seconds later if you add too much black shadow. So I'm going super, super light-handed, and this brush is kind of fluffy too, so I think that'll help me keep myself in check a little bit, because you know me, sometimes I just do the most all the time. So I'm gonna take just the tiniest bit and then tap off the excess and then go in this outer corner. All right, so as you can see, that black shadow added just a little bit of depth on the outside of the eye, and that's what I'm here for. And I know this looks crazy right now, but now we're gonna get into the really fun part, and it's a little bit tricky and kind of technical, so stay with me. So I'm gonna be doing a technique called a cut crease. What I'm gonna do, the general like format of doing a cut crease, is you take some like concealer or something on your hand. This is the Maybelline Better Skin Concealer. It's just what I have on hand, and that one dries down pretty well, so eyeshadow doesn't like get all weird and like move around on my eyelid. So what I'm gonna do is take just the tiniest bit of concealer that I put on the back of my hand, just the tiniest bit on this brush, and I'm gonna like get closer so you can see what I'm doing. And then so I'm kind of looking at like where my crease is. So I'm gonna put this right about there, maybe a little bit higher. So it's like a little bit above my natural crease. And then I'm gonna just start carving out that sharp line. You can kind of see like where I put that sharp line. And so now I'm gonna put concealer down here as well, just a tiny, tiny bit, just to kind of like make it a blank canvas again. So now I'm going to kind of sharpen up the line where the crease is, and go back in with that bright green and take this really, really tiny like liner brush and just dip ever so slightly and just like run it along right where we put the crease thing. So just taking a tiny bit and going in. Okay, now it's looking a lot more green again, which is what we want. So now I'm gonna get to a really fun part where we're gonna put like colors on that crease. I know you didn't think I was just gonna leave it like that. So now I'm gonna take this eyeshadow palette by BH Cosmetics called Galaxy Chic. Again, you don't have to use what I'm using. I know I'm using like 7 different things. But this one has a lot of really fun like colors in it, and they all look like planets. Like, how cute is that? Like, is that not the cutest thing you've ever seen? So I'm gonna take this like little like flat like kind of packing brush, and here's the trick. This is what I do 9 out of 10 times with the shimmery shadow. This is one of my favorite tricks to do like ever. This is just water, and so I'm gonna spray my brush and wet it. And believe me when I tell you that like if you wet your brush, like it makes your shimmer shadows just pop so much more. Like it's one of my favorite tricks. So I'm gonna take this now wet brush, just gonna wet it just a little more, and I'm gonna dip it into Comet and just pop that right here in the center. I mean, come on, like look at that pigment, like that is like there. It's wetting the brush. That's the secret to life. That is like the way to get your shimmer shadows to just like be amazing. Now that I've got Comet in the center here, I'm gonna wet the same brush and dip into the shade Meteor right here next to Comet, and put that towards more of the inner corner of the eye because I want it to be kind of like a gradient, so like a little bit darker and brighter, add some brightness and dimension to the eye. So now I'm gonna go back in with some of the matte green shades and just make sure that this transition from the shimmery to the darker outer corner is more blended and looks like a gradient, like an ombre kind of thing, rather than just like shimmer matte, hey, like we're just gonna make it look a little bit more like transition. Now, when I was applying that shimmer shadow, I was noticing that like the cut crease wasn't as sharp as it was when we first went in with that concealer. So I have a fun little trick for you that I do a lot when I do cut crease looks. So I have these like shimmery eyeliners, like liquid liners. Again, these are from H&M Beauty. Again, use whatever you have. So I'm gonna take this silver one, I'm gonna shake it up a little bit first, and I'm gonna just kind of like outline where that crease is with this silver liner. So I'm gonna go back in this palette and take that tempera shade that we used to set the eyeshadow primer. I'm just gonna use that and break my eyeshadows apparently. I'm gonna use that to highlight my brow bone. Of course this tutorial is a mess. It figures. Okay, and now finally it's time to get to that lower lash line. So I'm just gonna take this brush that I used to pack on those green colors and not add any additional color, but just go in with what's left right now and go just buff that all over the lower lash line. And I know that I make crazy faces when I do my lower lash line eyeshadow. I am expecting memes and screenshots later. I know, just go with it. Okay, so now I've got like kind of a light layer of just like kind of mapping out where I want everything down there. And I'm gonna go in with a little angle brush like this, really skinny and like angled. Gonna go back in with that black eyeshadow again, just the tiniest bit. We are not going for raccoon right now. And just dip in just a little, dust off the excess. Usually I'm all about extra, but when it comes to this, I do not want the extra, I just want a little. I'm gonna put this really close to my lash line and only about the outer third of the eye. Okay, now that I've got that little bit of black, I'm gonna go in with this brush. It's kind of like thin and a little bit fluffy. And I'm gonna go in first with the darker green and start just kind of buffing that like in the outer like half of the lower lash line. Like kind of over to blend out that black and add some more green in there. Now I'm going to take that same brush and go in the brighter green and put that more from the middle towards the inner portion of the lower lash line. So now I'm going to go back into that raw sienna shade and just again kind of blend out the edges so it's again a seamless blend into my skin. But this time on the lower lash line. Alright, so I didn't realize how dark it had gotten. But so I'm back and I've changed up my setup, so I have a light over here and we're gonna just see what happens. So I'm gonna take this little, like another small brush and highlight my inner corner with this. This is a highlighter palette from the brand BH Cosmetics. This is called the Blacklight palette. And I'm gonna take this like greenish looking shade here. It looks very much just like white and reflective. But it's kind of green toned, and I'm just gonna pop that right in the inner corners of my eyes just to make it pop and stand out and bring some brightness and life back to my eyes. Okay, now that I've highlighted the inner corners, this is what we look like right now. I'm gonna go ahead and add a winged liner. You definitely don't have to with this look. It's kind of dramatic on its own, but like I like to be dramatic and then plus some more. Just because I do the most all the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a wing liner, and I'm gonna do that off of camera because it takes me like every ounce of my concentration to do that. So I'll do that and be right back. Okay, I take my previous statement back. I do absolutely think you should put a wing on this look because I think the wing liner really just brought it together. So I'm gonna do the most, who's surprised, and I'm gonna put some false lashes on too, just to like make this just like crazy, and it would be a really cool like stage look. This is also looking a little Christmassy, but like I'm okay with that. So I'm gonna pop on some lashes and be right back. Alright, I put on the false lashes. It literally took me forever, so it's a good thing I turned off the camera. And I also applied some mascara to blend the false lashes with my own. I went with something kind of small so that you can still see all the detail work I did on the top. And now my face needs a little bit of love. So now we're going to contour. Okay, but like, why is this like kind of a look though? I mean, I won't, but I kind of want to just like wear it like this, but I won't. Okay, I know you can't really see it because the lighting's not that great, but so we're blushed, bronzed, contoured, everything. Now comes one of my favorite parts. If not my nose contour, this is like my favorite thing. So we're gonna highlight. Some people like to go for a natural highlight, and that's beautiful, and there's a time and a place for that. My goal is to kind of look like the Silver Surfer like slapped me in the face. So I'm gonna go back into this Blacklight highlight palette from BH, and I'm gonna go back into that greenish toned one, and probably we'll just mix like these three together and just... Also, if you wear this kind of a look on stage, if you wear like a lot of highlight, the stage light picks it up and it looks really, really beautiful. Okay, now that I've highlighted and look like an actual light bulb, which is the intention. By the way, one of my favorite places to highlight on my face is right here. That's called the Cupid's bow. It's one of my favorites. Anyway, now I'm gonna do lipstick, and since this look is really like colorful and kind of a lot, I'm gonna keep it a little bit simpler. So this is by the brand Ofra, and it's a liquid lipstick in the shade Charmed. And I love this formula and I love this look. Okay, so lipstick is done, so now I'm just gonna put on some setting spray. This one is from NYX, and the look will be complete. So I took my hair down, I added some accessories, I'm wearing my 6'8" shirt, and this is the completed final look, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I love green, is actually my favorite color, so it was just good luck when I joined 6'8" that their color was green too. I really love this look. It's so glam, it's so pretty, and I had it really like a lot of fun just creating it. I love colors, and I just really love makeup and playing around with it and being creative. So if you recreate this look, then I would love to see you recreate it. Please tag me on Instagram or Twitter at Mara Loves Ponies, or tag at 68slew on both of those things. And go to the concert December 8th at 7 p.m. and share this video and help 6'8" go viral, and thanks for watching. Bye.